All right, y'all. Sweet. So welcome to section 8. Section 8 this week is a little bit different. So we just wanted to make an intro video to this section just because it's structured a little bit differently than 1 through 7, which are pretty traditional recap lecture material, do a question problem, do a problem, all that good stuff, right? This section this week is a little bit different, right? So the first thing that your TA probably covered in section, if you went in person, no worries if you didn't, right? This still applies to you. And I think Casey also mentioned this in lecture too. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Like in the world right now, right? If you're watching this in spring 2021, at least, I hope if you're watching this in the future quarter, the world is a lot better now. But yeah, so at least if you're watching this in spring 2021, there's a lot that's going on. Um, just a reminder to y'all that if you need some space for yourselves, right? Or there's stuff going on in your personal life or even not in your personal life, right? Just stuff in the world that's affecting you and is making it hard for you to concentrate or do well in 373. Um, we want to help, right? Oftentimes students are oh, if I'm not directly affected by something, I can't ask for help, or I can't tell Casey or the staff that something's going on and I might need time on something or an accommodation. Just let us know, right? At least in spring 2020, spring 2021, when you are watching this, if you're watching it in the future, I hope things are much better. But in spring 2021, if you're watching this, right, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. Um, and yeah, just let us know. We want to help y'all out. This pandemic quarter is the time to be nice to students, not be mean to them. So just let us know. Even if you're watching this video and you don't go to section, find out who the TA is for your officially enrolled section, even if you don't go, and send them an email if something's bugging you or you just want to talk, or you're in the situation where you just want to reach out to someone and get a little bit of help, right? Even if you don't go to class, Casey said this in lecture too, right? We're still here to help you. It's still literally our job to make sure you get an education. All right, with that super serious note out of the way, but important note, let's go ahead and talk about sorting, right? So in section today, the only two things that TAs really covered about sorting were the topic of stability, or the topics of stability and in place, right? So if a sort is stable, right, this is the first topic, or I guess more of a descriptor. We say a sort is stable if it maintains the relative order of elements in the array. So for example, let's say we have this input array and then we sort it, right? There are two threes in this array, and there are also two twos, right? Um, if you have a stable sort, it's going to preserve this relative ordering. The final array obviously is sorted. Duh, the sort worked. That's good to see. But the other thing that you should notice is that this relative order is also preserved if we have a stable sort, right? This 2b, or this 2, is still on the right of this 2. This 3, also in the final output, is still on the right of this 3. So not only have we sorted the input array, by using a stable sort, we've ensured that 2a is still on the left of 2b in the final output, and 3a is still on the left of 3b. That's what a stable sort will buy you. The second topic we covered was in place, right? In place is also super important. We use the in place descriptor for a sort if that sort can be performed inside the array the numbers arrive in, right? So the way you should think about this is, if I hand you an array with numbers in it, right, and you're performing a in-place sort, it means that you can sort the numbers inside that array I gave you, right? You don't have to create any new objects. You don't have to create a bunch of new arrays or anything like that that will take up memory. All the memory you need really is just the array I gave you the numbers in. All the operations you can do inside that array I gave you, as the name in place kind of suggests. This is super important because as you'll see later in the design questions, right, sometimes there's situations where we don't have a lot of memory, right? So we have to kind of really be conscious of that. you are allowed like an in place to make like a constant amount of extra stuff. So maybe you'll like make like, you'll use obviously the array that the numbers came in, and you'll make like maybe a couple constant space variables, but nothing beyond that, right? You can't create any huge new things. You can maybe create like a couple of variables and stuff that take constant space, but beside that, everything's sorted inside the array that the elements kind of arrived in to you. And that's pretty much all the review we did in section. The main reason that like this video is getting made is this section was structured a little bit differently. Like historically what we did, right, is we just kind of like lectured at y'all in section on like how to do the sorts. And that was really boring, and like students fell asleep and they left. So we're doing something a little bit different this quarter. And this is actually something that you should know about in general, right? Like in section, what we told students was like, go to the website, right? Which I will actually demonstrate. Like go to the website, find section 8, and click the button that says study guide. That will take you over here, right? So this is a different like set of slides than the actual section slides. Again, we call it the sorting study guide. And this is actually a really cool document that I just want to walk over before I like have y'all do problems and watch the rest of the videos. So this sorting study guide, again, it's on the website. It's kind of ordered by like level, right? Like in this first level, this is like 20-second, like at a glance, get the most important stuff, right? Like we have this discussion of stability and in place, and we also have a cheat sheet on slide 3. This is probably the most important slide in the entire study guide. This cheat sheet is going to show all the worst, best, and average case runtimes for each of the 5 sorts that we learned. It's also going to show like in place and stability properties for each of the 5 too. Really important slide, especially for question 10 of this week's section. Then just kind of pitch this to y'all more, right? After this, the sorting study guide also goes into like explanations of all the different sorts. I find that like students just like to have this all in one place. So if you want like information dense walkthroughs of each sort, right, with like pretty cool videos, look at section 2, right? And then finally in the last section, right, we take kind of one input array and we give demonstrations of each of the 5 sorts on this input array. So again, this study guide, I'm kind of showing it to y'all because it serves 2 purposes. The first purpose is like, you should have this open as you work through section 8, right? Because, you know, there's no traditional like review. I guess there is for if you're watching this online, but like if you, as you're working through problems, you might like forget kind of what a sort does. So like this is a very good slide or a set of slides to have open, especially the cheat sheet here on slide 3. The other thing is too, like as you're studying for the final and as you're working on the final, I feel like this document will be really useful to y'all. So I just want to like hype it up, right? Like this sorting study guide, just generally a good thing to have around, like whenever you're working on any sorting problem. And again, you can go to the main website, go to where you got the PDF to do the problems, and it should be linked right under there. And yeah, so the rest of this playlist, right, is pretty straightforward. So here's like our intro video that I'm recording right now explaining like the study guide and like what we did. The 2 problems we covered in section this week were question 10 and question 11. There are videos for those on this playlist if you just want to like open the study guide and like jump right there. And also, right, if you want kind of like a lecture or like a spoken aloud reading of the material that's in the study guide, pretty much, you can watch these 3 videos in the playlist, right? They kind of walk you through and give an overview of 4 of the 5 sorts that we learned. I think we missed covering heap sort just because these are taken from spring 2020. But all 3 of these overview videos are very good, right? So if you want someone to like narrate the study guide material at you, I'd watch these 3 videos. If you want to just jump right to like problem overview, go ahead and watch these 2 on Q10 and Q11. That's all I got, y'all. Just wanted to explain the structure of section this week because it's a little bit different than it was in quarters past. Later, y'all. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the playlist.